Hi, Ian. How are you, Ian?
Hey, very good. Thanks to you, Pililani. Thanks for having me
Nah,
here.
I'm good. I'm good, man. I want to first thank you for being available for us to have this conversation. I know that it's a busy season for your guys, but I want to thank you for just taking a few minutes of your time just to have a conversation with us. And again, I want to welcome our viewers. My name is Pelila Ngubane, and I am part of an organization called Peace Matters, which is an organization that focuses on trying to help out build the next generation of accountants and auditors, including bookkeepers. And as part of the platforms that we have created, we have created this platform where we call in our guests to come and have conversations with us about their journey and try to inspire the young generation. So again, today on our show, we have Ian. How are you, Ian, my man?
Yo, very good. Very happy to be here and
Yeah.
great to be able to encourage some guys that are coming through, students, guys
Mm.
that are looking to take on accounting. And yeah, it's a hard journey. So I think they need the encouragement. If there's anything we can give and any kind of advice we can share, yeah, I think it's a good thing to do. So glad to be here.
All right, thanks, Ian. And again, as part of this conversation, we will just wanna first try to get to know you, man. Tell us something about yourself. Who's Ian?
That is a good question.
Yeah, man.
I'm one of four boys, originally from Port Elizabeth, Gqeberha.
Yeah,
That's
yes,
my hometown.
yeah,
Yeah, absolutely loved it there. Lovely people. People are super friendly.
mm,
So from the Eastern Cape originally, studied in the Eastern Cape, basically my whole life that side. Studied there, did my articles there with one of the big four firms, and then moved to Cape Town only the last couple of years.
mm,
So Cape Town is my new home. And the reason that I'm here is because my lovely wife, well, at the time, girlfriend, was studying in Cape Town.
yeah,
And I couldn't, unfortunately, I was trying to see if we could transfer her to PE.
yeah.
And that wasn't on the cards at the time because of what she was studying. So
Mm,
I decided, no, let me rather make the move across to Cape Town and come
mm.
and join her this side. And so from 2023, I'm officially a Cape Townian.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's nice to know that, my man. And you've taken something out of my one of the questions that I had because previously I thought that maybe I was going to ask you, hey man, why did you move to Cape Town? But you have already answered that, and thank you for that,
Yeah.
my brother. And again, I just wanted to know, man, why did you choose the accounting stream? Is it because of the influence of maybe people around you or the family, or what is happening? Why did you choose accounting?
So that is a great question, and I feel like
Hmm,
the answer probably changes based on the day that it gets asked.
yeah.
But honestly, the reason that I started with accounting was because I wanted to do something that would challenge me. That was pretty much it.
Hmm,
I was looking around and I'm kind of like, okay, what is going to be difficult? What can I really sink my teeth into?
yeah.
I wanted a proper challenge, and I thought that going the CA route was going to be that for me. And
Hmm.
I kind of found on route that it was more challenging than I
Yeah.
expected. I think especially the articles period that was really, really
Hmm.
good, but really difficult. So that at the
Mm,
time that was my motivator. When I was finishing with high school, kind of yeah, looking at my marks and looking at my aptitude and kind of
mm,
thinking, what can I try my hand at? What's going to be
yeah.
difficult? What's going to be rewarding? And I figured accounting opens up, it's going to be difficult, but also it opens up some great opportunities to work in commerce after studies. And so I figured that was a good one. Funnily enough, I didn't actually take accounting in high school.
Yeah.
So that was quite a
Now I wanted
shift.
to know now how was that now the shift or the jump from not having accounting at the high school level and then now going to varsity and studying the accounting. How was it for you, man?
Honestly, lots of extra classes.
Mm,
So yeah,
mm,
I think fortunately when you go to university, the first 6 months or so,
mm,
you kind of redo the high school curriculum.
yeah.
And so within the first 6 months, I'd kind of been brought up to speed, but for those 6 months, there was a lot of extra classes. So I
Yeah.
was doing all of the normal modules, and then there was also evening classes just to make sure that I actually understood what was going on. Because everyone else had that kind of,
Yeah,
proper
man.
starting point. For me, I
Mm.
was a complete beginner.
I'm sure that took a lot from you, my man, because if you do not have like the background in accounting, then now in varsity you have to jump in, and now that will be basically starting to be at the highest level. But I can say credit to you for taking all of that time and that hard work to get to par with the other students, man. I know. And
Mhm.
as part of my questions, I mean, man, we know already that you are a qualified CA, and others might not know, but you have half a decade of experience of post articles experience, man, and you served your articles at Deloitte. It was one of the biggest firms in the accounting industry and the auditing space, man. So we'd want to know, how did you get that opportunity to join Deloitte, and with the exposure that you got there, what did that mean for your career and your personal brand, man?
That is a good question. I think
Hmm.
just to clarify, so two parts to that. Firstly, how did I get that opportunity to get into
Yeah,
Deloitte? And then
yeah,
secondly, how did that impact me from a experience and exposure perspective?
yeah.
Um, so I getting into Deloitte was never something that I had planned from early. I know that a lot of
Hmm.
people, they're applying from matric already. Some people know what they want to do, and they're in high school, they're already signed to a particular firm.
Yeah, man.
For me, I kind of wanted to keep my options open.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite sure, even during my studies, I was still kind of umming and ahhing about, do I want to, pursue this
Hmm.
long term? And sorry, it does seem like the connection is a little bit poor.
Yeah,
And so I kind of kept that open as long as possible. And I ended up signing, I think, just before my honors exams
yeah,
in my final year of studies. And so
yeah,
everyone else had long since signed.
yeah,
Fortunately, there was one spot still available, and went in for an interview. And it was interesting because I'm a lot more senior than everyone else who was getting interviewed. I was there with a
yeah,
group, and most of them were like first years or
yeah,
still in high school. And here's me, this like honors student, finishing
yeah,
up
man.
and taking the interview process.
Hmm.
But yeah, I really liked the people that I chatted to. They liked me and they liked what they saw on my CV. And yeah, so it was a good fit. And they said, hey, we'd like you to come and join us from next year. So
Hmm.
quite a short process for me. I don't think it was a very lengthy thing. It was popped in and out, and then I was signed.
Yeah,
So
man.
that was great. And yeah, in terms of the exposure that I got, that's one of the things I'm most grateful for.
Yeah,
Um, Something that has really shaped me, I think, from a professional perspective, is the people that I've got to work with.
yeah,
And yeah, I think just the privilege of working with really, really sharp minds, working with seniors who were good at what they did, working with managers who were really good at what they did, partners as well. Um, and kind of that culture and that the expectation that, do everything with excellence, that there's always a better way. That kind of got built into me almost like it's now in my DNA that I believe
yeah,
there's always a better way. And
yeah,
so
man.
I think from a professional development perspective, that was amazing. And also just to be able to, I mean, so I was doing my articles and audit, but to be able to sit across the table from financial directors and some guys are part of really big companies, well-known companies, listed
Yeah.
or subsidiaries of listeds, and as a third year or even second year in a couple of cases, leading the audits and being able to chat to these guys, it built a confidence in me that I can actually engage with people at that level.
Mm.
Um, and that was it does a lot for your confidence. It did a lot for my confidence, leaving articles and believing I'm somebody who can do this. I'm somebody who can engage at that level and I can perform at that level. So that was huge. um yeah, and then obviously having Deloitte on your CV is great.
Yeah,
Everybody
man.
you
I also
kind of
wanted to. Also wanted you to share about that, man, because being associated with such big brands for sure is that something to your to the way the people see you as a professional, man.
yes, for sure.
Mm.
And I think, look, there's always the argument when people are going into articles of like, do you go with a smaller firm or do you go with a bigger firm? Smaller firm, you would typically find you might get more varied exposure.
Yeah,
Bigger firm, you might be a bit more channeled, but I think that like the quality of the mentoring and the input that you get might be
yeah,
higher. And look, I think there's a bit of give and take on both sides, but
mm,
the big four firms are big and successful because they do certain things right. And I
yeah,
think that's why people like hiring from one of the big firms, just because if somebody's made it through there, they're able to work hard and they're able to solve problems, and they're not going to come with excuses. They're going to come with
yeah,
solutions. That's it's almost like there's a culture that's developed in those places. And I know if I wanted to hire somebody and they've come from one of the big four, I know that the culture is going to be built into them, the values, and that the way that they approach work is going to be built into them. Because you can't make it through if that
yeah.
stuff doesn't seep in you. You're
It's
going
a
to be out the
norm, man.
door.
It's a norm. It's something that you can't run away from, man. You see?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. And I think I also had like a conversation with one of my friends, where we sat down and have a conversation about what do we think about saving your articles in a small firm or articles in a big firm or one of those big firms. And we also agreed on the fact that if you go for a small firm, you'd get more exposed there. You won't be like a specialist or how you be viewed as a specialist if you had to go to the big firm because they would throw you anywhere. They will tell you, hey, please do your taxes, please do this, so you get more exposed to different things and all of that. But if you were to go to a big firm, and again, you would be more like specializing. You'd be dealing with big clients, just like how
Mm,
you have mentioned that you worked on listed clients and all of that. Yes, I was also lucky to get opportunities like that. But honestly speaking, going through this process of articles, it also helps you as a professional. You grow to
mm,
be something that you wouldn't think that you would be at the end. And now we are sitting here, we're having conversations, and people will be inspired. And again, I
mm.
think as one of the questions that I wanted to ask you, were there any opportunities that were coming from outside South Africa since you were already qualified, maybe from the auditing side or maybe outside audit? Were there any opportunities?
Yeah, for sure.
Mm,
So I'm not a big social media person. I have, I feel quite strongly about it. I do use LinkedIn for a couple of reasons, and most of that would be for things like if I'm looking for a job or if I'm looking for people to hire.
yeah.
But on LinkedIn, I got a lot of requests from people just asking if I was interested in, agencies looking to place CAs, specifically South
Mm,
African CAs overseas. Fortunately, the CASA has got a very strong image across the world, strong reputation. And so there were a lot of people that were interested. Um, so I think Ireland and a couple other places in Europe, those popped up as potentials, but I wasn't interested in leaving SA. I'm
yeah,
still not. I'll travel to go visit other places, but
yeah, man.
yeah, I'm not interested in leaving SA at this point. Like I love the country. There's something I have traveled a bit. Oh, sorry, just give me a second. I'm gonna quickly. I thought I'd plug this in.
Mm, right.
So sorry, we're back.
Yeah,
So I have done a bit of traveling, and there's something incredible when you arrive back at OR Tambo Airport.
yeah.
Um, and it's like you kind of can't put it into words. You just hear people
You
talking.
feel home, man.
It's like I hear the accent, I hear the language. It's like there's something in the air. I'm like, I'm home. This is my place. These are my people. And so, as much of those other opportunities, like they could be great, and maybe it would be like experience and good exposure. For me, I don't know. There's something about SA, something about like this is my home. So that's why whenever those things popped up, I just said thank you, but yeah, not interested, and I've stuck around this side.
All right, man. And it's nice to know that, my man. And another thing, I just wanted to know maybe if there were opportunities outside South Africa, why did you decide to join Fenns, man? And I do not erase again the fact that you have worked before as an auditing manager for another firm. Yes, I get that, but I'm more interested into what you're currently doing, man. So I need to know why did you join Fenns, man?
Awesome. So just quickly on the previous firm, coming out of one of the big four, doing my articles and audit, obviously my experience, although it was really good experience from a kind of professional skills sense, it wasn't necessarily as broad as I would have liked. I did know that I didn't want to stick around in audit though. That was one thing I was quite convinced about. It was almost like that school fees. It's a necessary evil. Get through, get it done, and then start doing the fun stuff. Um, and so I went to a consulting firm in Port Elizabeth at the time. And although my title was audit manager, because that was my background, I was very involved in a lot of business consulting, a lot more tax work, valuations for acquisitions, mergers, that kind of thing. And so that was a lot more interesting for me. And I realized like that's what I'd like to do long term. I definitely don't want to go back into the audit space full time.
Mm,
And then, like I mentioned early on, the move to Cape Town was just because at the time my girlfriend was this side, and we'd been in this long distance relationship for about a year and a half. And at that point, I was like, hey, the ring is not yet on the finger, and this is a problem. So
yeah.
I moved across to get married, and it was
Yeah.
actually connection of a connection who was
Mm,
looking for somebody, to fill a particular role in Fenns, and they were reaching
mm,
out to their friends, actually in Port Elizabeth, and they were saying, "Hey, do you know somebody who fits this kind of bill?" and the guys that I knew recommended me. And so we had one call, me and the two senior partners. They introduced themselves,
yeah,
and it was a bit easier because they knew people that I knew, just friends of friends. And so there's that bit of like, I feel like, okay, I can trust these guys. They felt like they could trust me. It was one phone
yeah,
call, and they said, okay, cool. Here, here it is. Here's the offer.
yeah.
Come through to Cape Town and take over managing the branch this side. And because I had already decided to move, I was kind of just at that point, I was going, I'll take whatever job, gets me to Cape Town. And it turned out that it was a great job and it was one that I really
Yeah,
enjoyed. And in terms of the actual content of our work,
yeah,
I find it very stimulating. We work with a lot of SMEs. We do have some bigger clients. Still, I'm involved in a couple of big ones. You definitely know the names. I don't know if I'm supposed to mention them or not, so I'll probably avoid them. But the focus is more on smaller, like SMEs and business registration, getting guys up and running, helping them to set up processes to make their business effective. And for me, that's my passion. I think to be involved in other people's success is huge for me. And the values also of Fenns. It's not built, how do I put this best? It is built differently to other companies that I've experienced because it's values through and through. Like, what are those core principles? The senior partners from the get-go decided that they wanted to build particular core principles into the business. And those core principles align with my own values, my personal values. And so I don't feel like I'm fighting with management. I don't feel like I'm trying to pull in a different direction. I feel like we see the world very similarly. We have a similar outlook on life. Um, Something that's very important to me is that I value people, the people that I work with, the clients that I work with, the juniors that are coming through, the people that I'm training up. I value people, and I want to give them the best. From a training perspective, I want to give my clients the best. And so that kind of thing, like if our values align, me and senior management, it's easy for me just to throw myself in and run hard. And that's really what I've experienced here since joining, is that the work I find stimulating, the values are very similar. And also I kind of get it's like I'm helping to build a business. And we've got branches around the country, but with me being, on the ground in Cape Town, I'm helping to build Cape Town as almost as if it's its own business. And I also find that really, really stimulating. So I've grown a lot. I think one of the biggest things that I appreciate here is that there's been really intentional mentorship for me. And yeah, so one of the senior partners specifically, like we're on the phone most days, and he's helping to coach me and he's helping to help me develop as a professional. He's got 30 years of experience in the industry. And so all of those, you add all those things together, there's mentorship, there's the values that align, there's work that I find really stimulating, and it just seems like it's been the perfect fit. So I have, I'm here and I've stuck around, and I think I'm going to be here for a long time to come.
Yeah, man, it's good to hear that, my brother, that you're at a place where you're appreciated and where your input is also valued. And it's also good to have those people around you who are going to build you to into making you like a better person, just like how you
Mhm.
mentioned the fact that you have a senior partner that is always there to give you guidance on how you're going to run the Cape Town office. I mean, again, that thing I think it's very important. And just give us a brief about things, man. We want to know what you guys offer. We want to know your guys' landscape. Do you guys have other offices outside South Africa? Are you guys hiring? What's happening? Just tell us something about Fenns, man.
Okay, for sure. So Fenns, the two senior partners, two brothers, Greg and Doug, they took over from their father. They come from a long line of auditors and accountants, so it was something that just it seems to run in the blood for them. They took over from their dad about 20 years ago, and the practice started out in Mossel Bay, Southern Cape, and they have slowly planted other branches around the country, Cape Town, Joburg, George, and then one in Mauritius. And so our joke is always that we want to get seconded to Mauritius. Like we feel like there might be a bit of short staffing there, and they definitely need somebody with my particular skill set out there.
Yeah,
See if we can get a bit of a paid holiday.
yeah,
Um,
man.
but yeah, so we've got branches around the country, and um, I mean, we offer services like the standard things like audit, taxation, bookkeeping, compliance, company registrations, that kind of thing. But also a lot of hands-on, you could call it outsourced CFO or outsourced financial manager work, where we get really involved with the client's business and we help them to put things into place to better run their business. And that's not always just from a financial perspective. And so this is where the senior partner that I mentioned earlier and I really work well together, is that he's got that same passion. He wants to get hands-on with his clients and he really wants to get involved, and their success is his success. And so he's been mentoring me a lot in that space in terms of like, what are the operational, red flags? How do I help somebody get rid of the roadblocks that they're facing? And that, I mean, it's across the board. It's if we can add any kind of value, how do we add that value? So standard service offering, but with a very personal touch, a lot of involvement at the partner or senior partner level. And I think that's really the value that we add to our clients, is that they're not just getting, a set of management accounts at the end of the month. It's, hey, here are the management accounts. Here's what we can do better. What do the next 3 months look like? How can we help you manage your cash flow? On the operational side, what's frustrating you? How can we get those things worked
Yeah.
out of the system? So that's really what we're about, and we're always hiring. I think something that the partners have said is finding the right people can be
Yeah.
difficult. There are a lot of people who've studied accounting. There are a lot of people who could do bookkeeping, but to find people who have the same vision and the same values that will slot in well with us, that can
Yeah.
be a bit more challenging. So we're always on the lookout for people, always looking for guys who share those values and who we feel would be a good fit. And when that pops up, so we'll kind of make things work for a period. If there's not like that perfect fit in terms of maybe a skill set or availability, if we find that right person, we'll be like, no, come join. We'll make it work. We'll find a place for you. That's always been our approach.
No, man, it's lovely what you guys are creating there. It's lovely what you guys are building there. And I think a lot of people can learn from this and can learn from your guys, just like how you have explained how your company is more based on values, and that basically builds a healthy working environment, you see. And that is what's basically other maybe companies are lacking around the country. And that is why we need more companies like you guys, and we need more guys like you. And so I want to thank you for just sharing that. But again, when you were sharing, you also mentioned the fact that you're involved with taxation, and that is part of what you guys also offer there as some of the services that you offer. But I'm also interested to hear this from you. We have just reached our year end for the tax people, for individuals, and all of that. And we have seen that our Minister of Finance recently presented the budget speech to the nation. And basically, we want to know if there are any changes that you picked up that the taxpayers should know about, or that they should be aware of, that might affect them now or in the near future.
Yeah, very exciting changes there.
Mm.
I think a couple of big points that stand out to me is firstly the VAT registration threshold has increased. And so previously, if you were making more than R1 million of what they would call VATable or taxable supplies or sales, you'd have to register for VAT. And they've pushed that threshold up to 2.3 million,
Yeah,
which means that for small businesses, instead of them having to get very involved with admin and compliance, which can be an unnecessary cost, and it can be a bit of red tape, which slows the business down, they can continue functioning from that. They can hit the 1 million threshold. They can keep functioning up until they hit that 2.3 million rand threshold, and then only register for VAT. And so it seems like a small change, but removing compliance burden off small businesses, I think, is brilliant, and it's something that we need in South Africa. Um, I think, yeah, the best thing we can do in this country is to try and make it as easy for people to start and run small businesses as possible, because that's going to create jobs for that particular person, for their family. That's going to create jobs for other people as well. It's going to
yeah,
stimulate the economy. And so anything that kind of removes that red tape, like just pushing out the VAT registration threshold, I
yeah,
think is amazing. There's also another increase in the threshold for micro enterprises. And this is something that I think maybe not a lot of people would be aware of. But if you register a company, you don't automatically have to pay tax at the standard company rate. There are particular company classifications. So, small business corporation, which gives you preferential tax rates if you meet certain criteria. And then a micro enterprise also gives you particular tax benefits. And
yeah,
so that threshold for revenue for micro enterprise also used to be R1 million. They've also pushed that now to 2.3. And
yeah,
so definitely something to look into. Instead of being taxed on your net profit, you get taxed on your revenue, your top line revenue, but at a way smaller percentage. So the compliance and the calculations, the whole process is a lot easier. But the tax that you end up paying, if you make that category, can work out a lot cheaper. And
mm,
so reducing the tax burden on those small businesses, reducing the admin load on those small businesses, they also allow you to take out dividends tax-free up to a certain threshold. So there's a lot of benefits of that. And again, just by pushing out that threshold, they're allowing more companies to fall into that kind of lower admin, lower tax bracket. Again,
yeah,
just encouraging the development of small businesses in SA. And then for the individuals, a couple of great changes. Change in the tax brackets. So instead of us getting taxed more because of inflation, at least they're pushing that up and taking that into account, which is great. Tax-free saving account, you can now put more money into your TFSA tax-free each year. So the threshold's gone from 36,000 a year to now 46,000 a year, which is great. Increase in your retirement annuity contributions that you can make each year. So previously it was 350K, pushed up to 430K. And so across the board, there are quite a few changes that'll help smaller businesses, that'll help individuals just reduce a little bit of that tax load that they're feeling, which I think everybody can agree would be really helpful. So lots to be excited about, lots that's going to be yeah, obviously stuff that we're working with and helping people to kind of plan their lives. Something we do a lot of actually is quite active
yeah,
tax planning, tax structuring. And so
yeah.
with those changes, we'll bring that into consideration as we're going. How do we best structure your business going forward? How do we find that route that will save you tax? So yeah, lots to be excited about.
Yeah, man. I think what you have shared here is quite very important. And if maybe there was a way where you can just refer people to say, hey, guys, if you need more of this information, that is where you can get this information. Because I think a lot of people maybe are not aware of the stuff that you have just explained. And we've just had a conversation. Yes, I understand what you are saying because we are on the same industry. So I get what you're saying. But for someone who's also running a business that doesn't have much information, just like how we have around accounting, they will need maybe to
Mm.
see this again. Where can they see this information, or how can they reach out to you guys so that you guys can help them out with this?
That's a great question. We are
Hmm.
on social media, and so we put out regular blogs about tax updates.
Yeah.
So you can find us on Instagram, Facebook. You can go to our website,
Mm,
www.fenns.co.za. So it's
mm,
fens.co.za. And yeah, like I said, regular blogs, regular bite-sized chunk videos with
mm,
what those tax updates are. So if anybody wants to stay on top of what's happening, what the changes are, and how they can get the best out of the potential tax savings,
mm.
then yeah, I'd say follow us on social media. Go check out our webpage. There's quite an easy contact us section, and you'll be put into contact with a chartered accountant or tax practitioner to help you based on what your needs are.
Okay, thank you, my man. There, I think people will really use that information that you just shared with them. And I just want to hear from you now because remember, I've had like conversation with different people, and as we are having conversations, there are other things that are popping up during those conversations. And I recently had a conversation with one of my friends where I explained to him to say that, listen, even if you are a CASA, even if you're a professional accountant or you're a tax practitioner, you have registered, or you're a certified management accountant, on all of those things. Yes, those are good certifications, those are good accreditations, but you need to have a plan on what are you going to use them for. And maybe someone else might say, listen, I want to stay in audit. Yes, I'm a TA, but I still want to stay in audit, and I want to stay as an auditing manager. Then I want to work my way up into being an audit partner one day. You see, someone might say, listen, I want to move from audit and join the finance side. I want to work as an accountant for now, and finally try to work my way up to being maybe a CFO one day. And someone else might say, listen, for me, I just want to join a small firm. Then I will build that brand with them and make it a big brand one day. You see, someone might just say, listen, hey, for me, I just want to start on my own thing. You see, and that one, again, it's very important that we emphasize that the fact that, listen, even if you have that certification, even if you have that accreditation, but you need to have a plan on what you are going to use it for. What do you have to say about that, my man?
Yeah, I think that is critical.
Mm,
If you just wait to see what happens,
yeah.
I think it's a lot easier to be disappointed if you're on the back foot and you kind of
Mm,
see like who comes after me, what opportunities come and find me,
mm,
and then you can kind of watch your life go by. and you can live with a lot of regret, I think. Whereas what you're saying, to be front-footed and to say, clearly defined, this is what I want, that is what I'm working towards. Even if you don't end up getting exactly that thing, even if on the, while you're getting there, you realize, actually, I want to shift. It's better to
Yeah.
have that direction, better to have that momentum and change while you're moving. Because if you don't do that, the likelihood of you getting something that you really enjoy and the likelihood of you feeling fulfilled is super low. I don't think that that's how it works out. So I think very important to have, to have that like clear vision. And so for everyone, I think this is maybe encouragement that I can give to all of the guys that are still in those beginning stages is we need to take time to step back from the thing that we're doing to evaluate ourselves and to evaluate our lives. And I think without that, we end up a little bit rudderless. So yeah, probably biggest piece of advice I can give is just to step back and evaluate yourself.
And thank you there for giving us your input regarding that. And again, now we are coming to basically the end of our interview. But before we get there, I want to hear it from you, man. Looking at your life and your journey, do you have any regrets or something that you would want to change, man?
Sure, regrets, something that I'd want to change. So this is maybe not a regret, but I think something I could have leaned into a bit more.
Yeah.
And something that I'm learning as we go is the need to have people who are smarter, more experienced, wiser, just better than you around you.
Yeah. Very
And
important, man.
yeah, so I think there can be this kind of view of, and maybe I had this when I was younger, get through university, um, and then cool, I know the technical stuff, who can teach me technical stuff because I've gone through university, or I go through articles and I think, okay, now that I'm a qualified CA, now I've reached that level and I don't necessarily need input. And something that I'm appreciating more and more in my life, actually, is that I always need people who are smarter, wiser, more competent than me,
Yeah.
because they're going to shape me, they're going to influence me. Um, and so I'm kind of taking your question and changing it a little bit about regrets. I think
Yeah.
if I had known that earlier, I would have leaned into the people around me a lot more earlier on. So I would have made a lot more of an effort to build with the lecturers and really get as much as I could from them. I was trying to fly under the radar when I was in varsity, trying to, I didn't want to I didn't want to give people a difficult time. I was just like, go home, do my thing, pass my
Yeah.
exams, whatever. But I think there were a lot of opportunities that I could have spent more time with those people, the guys that have got experience, and just learned from them, just heard their story, heard their perspective. Even if I disagree with people, I think it's one of the most valuable things is have those
Yeah.
conversations, disagree with people to be able to disagree well, to have that, robust debate. I think it might be something that we're losing as a society, fear of offense, fear of whatever. But to push into those people, disagree, enjoy it, learn something from it, but always keep people around you who are stronger than you. And I think that's how you keep growing. So, like I say, I'm learning that as I go. I'm appreciating it more. But I think if I could change one thing and I had to go back, it would just be to push into those people a lot more from early on.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Ian, man, for joining us today. And I think we had like a great conversation. I think a lot of people will be looking at this video, watching this video, and be inspired and also learn from it because that is the goal to try and help us the next generation so that they are aware
Mm.
about all of these things as early as possible. And it was nice of you to share like something that you wish you knew early, because a lot of people would not want to share that because those
Mm.
things are very important, guys, because again you get to shape someone who they are still at their early stage so they can still avoid this, you see. But thank you again, Ian, for taking your time, and I'm sure the viewers are going to be going back and searching about your entity and also reaching out to your guys if they need any help in terms of consulting and all the other things that you guys offer. And thank you again for being available for the call. It's very like much appreciated. I know it's a busy season, but you made time to meet us. And I would like to say goodbye to our viewers. And also, it was nice having this conversation with you, Ian.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time, and we'll check in again.
Okay, thanks, man. See you around,
Cheers,
eh?
cheers. Bye.
Sure, sure. Smart SA, accounting professionals you can trust. Reach out to our consultants.